began at 10:24 a.m. and was completed at 10:28 a.m. Mr. Djerf was pronounced dead at 10:40 a.m.
Tonight, an Arizona man convicted of killing 4 people decades ago has been put to death for those murders. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Richard Djerf was executed today for the brutal killings of 4 family members back in 1993. He pleaded guilty to the crime 30 years ago, but the legal fight went on for decades. Authorities say this was a calculated crime. Djerf was retaliating for electronics and a gun stolen from his apartment by Albert Luna Jr. months earlier. He went to Luna's home, killing him and his entire family. Fox 10's Kenzie Beach has more tonight on Djerf's execution from Florence, Arizona.
3 decades later, Richard Djerf was executed by the state of Arizona by lethal injection for a crime he confessed to from the very beginning. Djerf killing a mother, a father, their 18-year-old daughter before raping her and then killing their 5-year-old son. A gruesome crime of rage and revenge. Witnesses say it took 9 minutes from start to finish for Djerf to die.
The death penalty is the law of Arizona. We must recognize the seriousness and the solemnness of taking a life. Today should be about the members of the Luna family. Those 4 innocent victims deserve justice, and their loved ones deserve closure.
55-year-old Richard Djerf entered the execution room in all white, wearing black flip-flops as the curtains opened to a standing room-only witness gallery.
When asked if he would like to provide any last words, Mr. Djerf said, and I quote, "I do not."
John Hook recalls the moment Richard Djerf stepped onto the table. Djerf, with his eyes closed, was completely compliant before being restrained to the table and covered up to his chest by a white sheet.
These IVs were put in and removed several times. I counted 4. They were having a really difficult time finding a suitable vein.
The execution process was carried out according to plan.
To be honest with you, this was very quick. I detected heavy breathing and grunts about 2 minutes later. He looked sedated, his mouth slightly agape. His eyes were closed, no movement, no breathing, motionless by 10:32.
Djerf telling reporters in the days leading up to his death he was ready to die, expressing remorse. Djerf's anxiety came from other people watching him die. In 1993, Djerf taunted the Lunas to witness each other's deaths.
You think about the Luna family. They endured 7 hours of torture in that house 32 years ago. It was a heinous crime, and we have to think about the Lunas during this. They deserved justice as well.
After today's execution, there are 107 inmates on Arizona's death row, many of which have exhausted their appeals. In Florence, Arizona, Kenzie Beach, Fox 10 News.
And Djerf is the second person to be executed in Arizona this year. Back in March, Aaron Gunches was the first person put to death by the state since 2022. That was for the 2002 killing of Ted Price. There are currently 107 prisoners on Arizona's death row, and as of right now, there are no upcoming executions scheduled in the state. Well, tomorrow, thousands of protesters will be taking to the streets in cities all across the West to voice opposition to the Trump administration's policies as part of the nationwide No Kings protest. In San Francisco, the city will likely be seeing many road closures as protesters make their way through the streets. San Francisco police say the last No Kings protest that happened back in June resulted in no direct arrests related to the demonstration, but they are staffing up for this weekend.
The SFPD honors everyone's right to protest, and we will facilitate peaceful demonstrations. But we will hold people who break the law accountable. We've been in contact with the event organizers, and we will work to ensure everyone is safe.
Saturday's planned protests come amid threats from the Trump administration to bring National Guard troops into San Francisco, despite objections from local lawmakers and elected leaders. And business owners in Portland are preparing for tomorrow's protests. Dozens of demonstrations are happening across the region. Tonight, Fox 12's Leslie Dominique has more on why some store owners are welcoming the extra business despite the protests, while others are voicing concerns about safety.
I do appreciate all these people coming, showing up. I think it's helping everybody. Me as an immigrant, I'm very proud.
At La Piñata Tacos on 3rd Avenue, Filiberto Saldana is preparing for a boost in business as thousands of protesters are expected to participate in Portland's No Kings 2.0 demonstrations Saturday. Next door at El Masri Halal Egyptian Cuisine, the owner says he's bringing his daughter on board for extra help.
We always expected, somehow they will come back and forth here once in a while so that we can be able to make some money.
Several marches Saturday will converge at Tom McCall Waterfront Park, where a rally is planned. Portland police are coordinating with partners like OSP and the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office to manage crowds, although they expect a peaceful event.
It's just going to be a large, friendly event where we anticipate people to be able to exercise their First Amendment rights.
But some business owners like Karen Chire, owner of the Stadium Superette, worry resources will be stretched.
When resources are taken for these silly protests, it's like, then what happens to us? What happens to the business owners and the residents that are dealing with legitimate crime?
Chire, a former PPB administrator, says she helped coordinate logistics for BLM protests in 2020. Now she's speaking out about crime near her business, where she thinks more resources should be directed.
It's kind of funny how, they're thinking that Trump is a king, right? And that's why we're having these protests. But I think people don't realize that we have our own kings and queens here in local and state government that actually need to be taken down a notch.
And ahead of this weekend's planned No Kings protest, we are hearing now from people who live right across the street from that ICE facility in South Portland that has been the scene of demonstrations. People who live at Gray's Landing, an affordable housing complex, say tear gas and pepper balls being used by federal agents is making it hard to live in their own apartments. The building is owned and operated by the nonprofit Reach. The CEO says that a couple of people have actually moved out. Others have asked to switch apartments to the opposite side of the building. People who live there say their sense of security has been shattered.
Having breathing problems, and I'm a healthy person. There's a lot of veterans and people with big health problems, and it's even worse for them.
The building's managers say they have paid to install HEPA air filters all throughout the building, provided free earplugs to residents, and also increased staffing. All of this in an effort to try to protect people who live there. Well, tonight we are learning more about a racially charged interaction at the National League Championship Series earlier this week between the LA Dodgers and the Milwaukee Brewers. The confrontation in Milwaukee was caught on camera, and it shows a woman using racist language toward two men. Those men were then escorted out of the stadium. Tonight, Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna has more on exactly what happened.
Brewers fans erupt with the first run on the scoreboard. But once the Dodgers scored 2 runs in the second, the fans' attitude changed, and so did Ricardo Vasado's.
Why is everybody quiet? What is this?
That apparently didn't sit well with this woman. She says, you know what?
Let's call ICE. Call ICE. Call ICE. I'm a U.S. citizen. We're veteran, baby girl. We're veteran. 2 wars. ICE is not going to do nothing to me.
I think she just let out her true colors. Let herself let it out of baseball and took it out of the cheering into some more personal, the personal level.
Good luck.
And apparently once this video went viral and the social media world ID'd the woman, it took less than 24 hours for her comments to get her fired. Her employer, Manpower Group, posted she was investigated and is no longer with the organization. Fox 11 has also learned she resigned as a board member of the Wisconsin branch of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Was it warranted that she got fired for her comment?
Especially, it depends. It depends on your position, but there's, like I said, there's people that don't want to be associated with those type of people.
The Dodgers may have gotten the win, but Ricardo missed the last 3 innings. She complained when Ricardo said this to her after she took a swipe at him.
Call ICE. Call him. Call him. Idiot.
Ricardo and his friend were ejected from the stadium.
He asked, why am I getting kicked out? What did my friend do? Or why are we getting escorted out? And the only reason they gave anybody was because we were Dodger fans.
That was Susan Hirasuna reporting tonight. A woman from Washington is now in custody after allegedly assaulting two Alaska Airlines flight attendants. 61-year-old Tracy Barkheimer was arrested on Tuesday after a flight from Portland to Dallas was diverted to Boise, Idaho because of a disturbance on board. Investigators say that she is accused of acting erratically and striking two crew members who were trying to calm her down. The airline says she is now banned from flying with them. She's been booked into the Ada County Jail on 2 charges of battery. House Speaker Mike Johnson now responding to accusations that he is delaying the swearing in of a newly elected Democratic Congresswoman from Arizona. Adelita Grijalva won a special election in Arizona's 7th Congressional District more than 3 weeks ago to replace her late father in Congress. Tonight, Arizona State Attorney General Chris Mays is threatening a lawsuit if Representative-elect Grijalva isn't seated in the House. But since the government shutdown is ongoing, Speaker Johnson has not called the House into session.
It's a publicity stunt by a Democrat Attorney General in Arizona who sees a national moment and wants to call me out. She has nothing whatsoever to do with what's happening in Congress.
Democrats have accused Johnson of stalling to prevent Grijalva from being able to vote on the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Speaker Johnson says she will be sworn in as soon as the House is back in session. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, 36 years ago, Loma Prieta, the earthquake, Loma Prieta rocked the Bay Area. We will take a look back at what unfolded on that day. Also, an update on the rescue efforts still unfolding tonight in Alaska as a typhoon wiped out much of the southwestern part of the state.
And as we take a live look out toward the Golden Gate Bridge in the city of San Francisco, we're going to talk about the weather forecast there. It could be the best this autumn season. We got your West Coast Wrap forecast. It's all straight ahead.
Today marks the 36th anniversary of the Loma Prieta earthquake. The 6.9 quake killed dozens of people in the Bay Area and injured thousands more. KTVU's Janet Katsuyama spoke with a retired USGS scientist who was working on the day the quake struck back in 1989. And tonight he's raising concerns about how the ongoing government shutdown might affect the agency's earthquake science program.
Second base, so the Oakland A's take.
Bay Area residents still remember the shock of the deadly 6.9 magnitude Loma Prieta earthquake, October 17, 1989.
The room started shaking.
Steve Walter was a young scientist with the USGS Earthquake Research Center in Menlo Park.
We looked up and there was a crack forming in the wall above us. And so, okay, time to do something. So we got up, ran to the doorway.
Walter says now, 36 years later, research by USGS earthquake scientists has helped the public better understand the Bay Area's risks.
Loma Prieta had 7,200 aftershocks. All of these blue dots here are Loma Prieta earthquakes. We call them mostly aftershocks. The big dot in the middle there is the main shock.
Walter says on this year's anniversary of the Loma Prieta, what worries him is the impact the government shutdown is having on the USGS earthquake science program.
It's not just furloughs, but there have been layoffs too. We're losing the future seismologists and scientists who continue the research and extend it further.
Walter says funding cuts can impact not just the early warning systems, but also the fundamental science and research needed to monitor fault lines such as the Hayward Fault, which just had 2 small quakes in the past 3 weeks.
It hasn't had a big earthquake since 1868, so it's considered that this is the most likely big earthquake to occur in the Bay Area, and it's going to be a lot worse than Loma Prieta, even though it'll be about the same size. Loma Prieta was up in the mountains, pretty remote. Hayward is right in the middle of one of the most populated areas in the West Coast.
On this anniversary, San Francisco's Guadalupe Elementary School students took part in an emergency drill with Mayor Daniel Lurie, taking cover under desks. Officials gave a warning.
We are all in this together. Preparedness takes all of us. We want you to make a plan. We want you to be prepared.
A 3.1 earthquake happened yesterday morning in Berkeley. So it is not a matter of if, but when this earthquake's going to happen. Let's take this day today, when we think about what happened in 1989, to make a plan, to sit with your family and talk about what you will do in an earthquake.
And as part of those preparations, California officials hope people will download the My Shakes app to their phones. It gives you early warnings and also information if there is an earthquake. Reporting from Treasure Island, Jana Kasiyama, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
We have an update tonight on the emergency still unfolding in Alaska, where hundreds of evacuees continued to arrive at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson today. Flooding from a typhoon devastated many communities along the Alaska coast. The Alaska Air National Guard has been flying evacuees to safety. Authorities tonight say at least one person has died and 2 others remain missing after the flooding. The storm also destroyed a number of homes in the area. Authorities tonight are still assessing the extent of the damage. In Arizona, the Phoenix Zoo reopened today, several days after a microburst caused widespread damage across the valley. That storm hit on Monday, leaving nearly 24 trees uprooted and damaging pathways and fencing at the facility. The storm caused an estimated $300,000 in damage, and the zoo was shut down for several days. The zoo right now is seeking donations and tree replacements through a new storm recovery fund to help rebuild and offset lost revenue. A number of destructive wildfires across the West recently have been caused by electrical equipment. And now Arizona State University researchers are testing out a new device that could reduce the risk while also keeping people's power on. The sensor technology is called WARM. These devices are meant to detect factors that can start wildfires, such as changes in wind, temperature, and humidity.
The goal is to ensure that we do not cause any unanticipated damage to the grid. We are looking for potential collaborators to work with us in the industry so that we can actually place this device out in the field.
Researchers say WARM is ready for use in areas with high wildfire risk, and it can be placed onto existing power lines and equipment. Some cities in California are looking at other ways to limit wildfire risk from electrical equipment, including burying lines underground or removing power lines that are not in use. All right, let's check in here and talk about our weather as we head toward the weekend. It looks pretty good across the West. Meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez joining us now with a look at the forecast.
I was just thinking about what you were talking about with the wildfire season there, Alex, because we all start to breathe a sigh of relief.
We are feeling a lot better now.
Right, as we start to go towards our winter outlook, we can say goodbye to fire season, except that one fire, that huge, devastating, deadly fire that did break out in the Los Angeles area last January. That was very rare. You typically don't see those wildfires in the winter seasons. Now, the projections are that we're going to see above normal precipitation in the Pacific Northwest as far as most of California is concerned, and Nevada backing through Idaho. We're talking about equal chances, and then less equal chances in Southern California, where they desperately need more rainfall. Now, meanwhile, we take you to the glorious Santa Monica Beach, just about 10 miles outside of LAX, where the high today was 82. It was 75 at the beaches today. Meanwhile, let me scoot out of the way so you can see the beautiful skyline of San Francisco at 75 degrees. Not a cloud in the sky there, but mostly cloudy in Seattle with an impending storm. 60 the high there, and typically this time of the year you should be right around 95 degrees in Phoenix. Not bad. The sun did shine after that microburst. 83 degrees. Now, we do have an area of low pressure. It's on approach to the Pacific Northwest. And look at the fetch, how far back it extends. It really has atmospheric river qualities associated with it. And it's going to bring some rain showers over the weekend to Seattle, through Tacoma, into Portland, even nicking portions of Eureka. Now, right now it's in the 50s to the north, 64 San Francisco, nearly 70 at this hour in Los Angeles, and 54 in Salt Lake City. So here comes the rain to the north. and it looks like it's going to impact the weekend there and nick that northwestern corner of the state of California, and then a little bit of a dry period. Now, as we forge ahead to Monday at 7 p.m., that's where it stops. So I'm calling on the Futurecast model, and it shows you storm after storm is generating high surf and also copious amounts of precipitation to the north, and then it slides into the Bay Area and will impact Southern California by next weekend as well. So this weekend's going to be the best autumn weather in California. Los Angeles, sunshine. San Francisco, sunshine. We're talking about rain showers in the Pacific Northwest. Denver, you look fantastic. And Phoenix, you're warming up to where you should be for this time of the year. And Alex, I want to wish you a great weekend.
All right, you have a great weekend too. Roberta, thank you very much. Still ahead tonight on West Coast Wrap. The Seattle Mariners just one win away from the team's first ever trip to the World Series. We'll show you how the Mariners fought back to take tonight's game. Also coming up tonight, a rare sighting caught on camera in Southern California as orcas are getting the attention of tourists in a place that you wouldn't expect. Tonight, the Mariners are one win away from heading to their first World Series in franchise history. And it was a grand slam that sealed Game 5 tonight in Seattle to give the Mariners a 3-2 lead over the Blue Jays in the American League Championship Series.
Another 2-2. It's another fastball. It's driven the other way. It's got a chance. It's a grand slam.
Quite the moment in Seattle tonight. Mariners third baseman Eugenio Suarez hit that grand slam in the bottom of the 8th inning, and the place went crazy. That helped the Mariners go on to win this one 6-2. The Mariners will play Game 6 and then Game 7, if necessary, in Toronto for a chance to win their first American League pennant. Well, college football fans across Utah are gearing up for a big rivalry game coming up this weekend between the Utah Utes and the BYU Cougars in Provo, what fans call the Holy War. This game has Big 12 conference implications as the Utes are entering this weekend ranked number 23 in the country with just one loss, while BYU is undefeated, ranked number 15. Fans have been camping outside of the stadium in frigid temperatures since last night, all trying to snag a front row seat for the big noon kickoff show that you can watch right here on Fox.
We're here early, you don't have to wait for a group for this, so we can be right at the front. And we've made some posters and stuff, so we're going to be loud and hopefully get on camera.
The Holy War, the BYU-Utah rivalry, and we take it really serious.
They sure do. You can watch the Big Noon Kickoff Show from Provo, Utah, starting at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 8 a.m. in Utah. The game itself kicks off here on Fox starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time and 6 p.m. tomorrow night in Utah. Finally, tonight, whale watchers near San Diego's Point Loma experienced a rare sighting this week.
There's one right here.
That's an orca swimming close to the shoreline. Orcas don't migrate in a fixed pattern, but they actually usually follow prey, mostly marine mammals like seals, sea lions, and dolphins. According to NOAA and SeaWorld researchers, California visits like the one there tend to peak in late summer and fall when the water temperatures start to change and prey shift closer to shore. That does it for West Coast Wrap. Have a good night.